I try so hard to budget, but it seems like I can never get ahead. Something came up. I had to buy school clothes. I had a car expense. I had to pay for medication. I had to buy a gift. I went over on groceries. Something always comes up. And as soon as I save money, I have to use it on something. Those are just a small list of excuses that we will be talking about today in this wonderful collab video, orchestrated by the lovely Kristen Marie. Her channel, as well as all the other participants, will be listed down below. And you stay tuned, because we're going to talk about money saving excuses and what you can do to get past them. So first off, I have some good news for you. This happens to everyone generally at the beginning of their budgeting journey. It absolutely happened to me. Now I hear from you guys all the time who are saying, I've just started my budget, I'm only a couple of months in, I'm trying to save, I'm trying to set up sinking funds, and I just can't get ahead. It seems like every single time I put a little bit away, something happens and I have to use it, and it gets swooped up from under me and I'm back at zero. But what I always tell them is that you're not back at zero. You save something and then you had to use it, and that's okay. You're back at your start ground, but you're not below. Because if you hadn't saved that money, you would have been under. You would have been under. You can celebrate the fact that you had saved that money aside and that you were able to use it for a legitimate emergency. Now, some of the things I talked about, you can mitigate some of those costs a little bit. Say if you needed school clothes was one of the things I mentioned, you can shop for those thriftily. Car expenses happen, they just do. We plan for those in advance, but like we were talking about at the beginning of your budgeting journey, any little bit that you put aside can sometimes get wiped out by the unexpected, because you're just beginning your budgeting journey and a lot of things are unexpected. Before you started budgeting, you just dealt with those blows as they came, because you didn't have a plan, a basic operating system or a budget to deal with your income and assign every dollar. Now that you have a plan for your money and you're trying to put that into place, anytime one of those snowballs comes in, probably more like an asteroid, and tries to whack your budget, you realize that that money has to come from somewhere, and so you're gonna have to take away from something else in your budget since you've already assigned all that money. Before you had a budget, you just kind of bobbed and weaved, and you were probably always keeping your head above water, and that's probably why you started looking into budgeting to begin with. I want you to hang on. Please, just hang on, because here's what's gonna happen. If you are diligent about your budget and about your money, those asteroids are gonna quit hitting you, at least as often. So here's what's gonna happen. You're in budgeting, you're trying to get your money under control, you're trying to manage it, you're trying to start saving for sinking funds and save a baby emergency fund maybe and pay off your debts. Yeah, things are gonna come out of left field because you hadn't prepared for any of those, and that's okay. That's part of what getting our money under control is. When I started paying off my debt a few years ago, things came out of left field all the time. I had asteroids left and right. I promise you I went through this exact same thing. But there's an amazing thing that happens when you're diligent about your budget and you keep moving forward. You keep making that budget. You keep trying to set aside a little. Asteroid hits, you have to steal it. Next month, you make the budget. You set the money aside. Asteroid hits, you have to steal it. The next month, you make your budget. You put the money aside. Asteroids back off. And then you have that money there. And if you don't touch it, and nothing happens, it gets to stay there. And then the next month, you do your budget. You put the money aside. Maybe an asteroid hits, maybe it doesn't, but you have a little more there to deal with. And all of a sudden, the things that are hitting you aren't going to be able to keep up with what you're putting aside. I promise you, this is what happens, because you're dealing with the things that are happening in your life. You're becoming more aware of them. You're becoming more prepared for them. So you started a little car sinking fund. All of a sudden you need an oil change, the money's there for it. It doesn't wreck your budget. All of a sudden, car tire goes up. You have the exact amount in that sinking fund to pay for that tire repair. It's not a failure to use savings for emergencies. I promise you. You have to realign your mindset and say, when I am using money that I've saved for an emergency, that is winning. If you didn't have that fund there, what would you have done? You probably would have had to go into more debt. And more debt is the only thing that's losing. Managing our money, trying to prepare as much as we can for the future, for anything that's gonna come up, that's winning, I promise you. And as you keep going, every month, budget, setting aside the money, budget, setting aside the money, budget, setting aside the money. The asteroids aren't gonna hit you every month. They're gonna get fewer and fewer and fewer. And then one day you're gonna look up and you'll have all these little pots of sinking funds. You were prepared for pretty much anything to happen to you. Little medical expense happens, you know, all of a sudden a prescription, you get an infection, have to pay for a prescription, you've got your little medical sinking fund right there, ready to go. Have a car tire blow, got your little car sinking fund ready to blow. Anything else in the ethos comes, you've got your little baby emergency fund there, ready to go. And you've got all these little pots of money, and you've also got this money and this budget, and you're setting aside and you're paying off debt, and you're moving forward. And soon you will be insulated against the things that want to happen to you, against those asteroids. It'll be like a little force field. And that money will catch things before they affect your life. Something comes up, I might take a ding over here in this one, but I'll just fill it back up later. It'll be fine. Nothing gets past the force field to wreck my life up. And that's where you want to be, where you can use money to insulate you against things that will inevitably happen. What are big pains in your side now will become flea bites later that you will be able to brush off without another thought. I am incredibly fortunate in that I'm in that place now. I just pay for things when they come up. I'm almost halfway, or I'm a little over halfway actually, done with my big emergency fund, which is a huge shield against the universe. I can take a big freaking asteroid to my shield right now. And while I'm not completely there, if something minor happens, I just pay for it. People do get sick, cars do break down, 1,000 things happen, and you can be prepared for them all. You absolutely can. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this video. I will see you all very soon. As you're watching this, I am actually at FineCon in Dallas, FinanceCon, yes. And I am having so much fun learning all the money knowledge. I will be back with you very soon. See you later, bye. He says you should go visit all of the other people in the collab and leave your money saving excuses down below, the ones that you've conquered. Also, she would love to give you a big old hug and one of her puppy bones if you would subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and if you will like this video.